Hello everyone, this is Martin with Steadfast and Orion, and in this video I want to talk about what to look for in a driver. It's hard to tell at the beginning when you first hire someone. You don't, especially a driver, you don't know what kind of driver you're going to get. A good indicator on knowing what kind of driver you're going to get is to look at the driver's application. If he has 10 jobs in the last year, 20 jobs in the last 2 years, you know, that's a driver that's hopscotching around to different locations. He doesn't have an agenda, or she. 9 out of 10 times they're just going whoever pays more, whoever has work. They're not looking for longevity. They're not looking for, I would say, a future in a company. They're just looking for that higher paycheck for that week or that month. And I hate to say that way, but in reality, that's what it is. There are a lot of drivers who go to a company and stay put for 5, 10, 20 years. And they get to know how everybody works inside. They get to know the do's and the don'ts of the company, you know, while you work that long, when you work that long at a company. But when you have drivers that only work, you know, a month or 2 months or 3 months at a company, they're not going to be long. They're not going to be there long, or they're not going to be there for you. They're not going to help you out. They're going to help themselves. And that's just a fact, at least from my experience, from my personal experience. 9 times out of 10, when you hire a driver and their application shows they have 10 jobs in the last year, a good question to ask is, what is this job going to do for you that the other 10 didn't do last year? So those questions, I think, is a good question to ask a driver. While I understand that a lot of drivers, especially owner-operators, it's their own truck. They can go to and from where they want. It is up to the trucking company to work who they want, to choose who they want to work with. Just like the drivers choose what company they want to work for, I think you as a company have the right, and you should have the ability to choose the right people for your position that you're hiring, whether it's in the office or the drivers. It's hard, especially on the driver note, because you don't know what kind of driver is going to walk in your door. You don't know what a common problem that drivers tell people inside the office is when they first hire on, they'll either say, I'll go local, I'll go over the road, or I'll do a little bit of everything. And sometimes it's almost like they say that just to get the job. But once they get into the job, they start saying, no, I don't do this. No, I don't do that. No, I don't go here. No, I don't go there. So those are questions that you have to ask straight from the beginning, or at worst, just pretty much tell the driver, this is what we do here. If you don't like that, then this is probably not going to work for you. And if you set your boundaries from the beginning, if you set what your rules are in your company from the beginning, it shouldn't be an issue later down the line, but unfortunately, there will be an issue with a few drivers. So that's that. Check their previous past employment history. That's a very good indicator of how the driver is or will not be. I've always said it. If they have 10 jobs in a year, 15 jobs, they're not going to be with you long. They're there for themselves. They're not there for you or for the better of the business, or to be, you know, a good co-worker with the rest of the drivers. And that's just my personal opinion, and that's my personal experience, having done this as long as I have. Now, the character of a driver is very important. You will get a lot of drivers that will lie to you. Just like they say dispatchers lie, in reality, I've seen very little dispatchers be lie to drivers, because it doesn't benefit a dispatcher to lie to a driver. I've heard you could call it a white lie just to get something done, but in reality, you're gonna get caught. Telling a driver a lie, the driver's gonna find out sooner or later. So the character of a person, whether it's for the driver, the dispatcher, CS, or whoever, is very important. But in this specific instance, I'm gonna talk to the drivers that you're hiring, because it's easier said than done to get a good driver with good character. But that's honestly not always the case either. A lot of times, I posted a video on Facebook earlier. Drivers make $150,000 a year, but yet they leave a lot of money on the table. Their character, they just don't care too much about, what they got going on, so they're okay with where they're at. So you got to be careful with the type of driver you're hiring, because at the end of the day, you need them to be here. And that's what I want to touch on next, is their work ethic. You need drivers to be at work, at the very least Monday through Friday. We understand people have things to do on the weekend. That's the good time to take care of your truck, change the oil, do whatever maintenance you need to do on your truck. But for the drivers who honestly don't work Monday through Friday on a regular basis, that's hard for any company to keep them busy. Because if you can't come to work Monday through Friday at the very least, there's an issue already there. I don't care how anybody tells me. You gotta come work no matter what Monday through Friday. Do things happen? Yes. Are things going to happen? Yes. Do emergency happen? Yes. But for the most part, nobody has that many things personal things to do. You got bills, you can pay them online. You can do it over the phone. There's a lot of things now that can be done online or over the phone without having to be off of work. And you still have a bunch of owner-operators out there that take the day off to take care of business. Whatever business they have, I don't know. But an owner-operator, because they're their own boss, they can choose to do that. But I don't think it's fair for them to throw their money at the dispatcher if they're not making money. So having a work ethic, a great or good work ethic in trucking is very important as a driver. We have drivers that don't work Mondays. We have drivers that don't work Fridays. We have drivers that leave early on Fridays. We have drivers that don't, you just have they don't want to go over the road. They don't want to stay local. And all these things are work ethic and their character as a person when they come into the door to when they walk out the door. You're able to tell if they're telling you the truth or if they're lying to you. And then their work ethic falls in line with their character, believe it or not. If they don't have good character, they're not going to have good work ethic. Period. Bottom line in the story. Now, last but not least, habits. The habits of a person, and that's in any culture, in any industry, in any work environment, is important. If you have a good habit, good things can happen. Bad habits, bad things can happen. There's very good drivers that start off in the industry with very good intentions and do very, very well. But then they start getting, advice from drivers who have bad habits. Believe it or not, that is somewhat of a virus, a cancer. People that have bad habits and bad mouth people and bad character, bad work ethic, those are cancers in an environment, in any environment. And in the trucking environment, it's no different. It's actually probably a little worse sometimes, because one bad driver can infest the whole pool of drivers. And it's very important that you remove that driver out of the way. Because of their habits, they can cause problems, big problems. Bad habits like not checking equipment, not checking tires, not checking brakes, not checking lights, not doing a pre-trip, not doing a post-trip. All that stuff, it matters. Well, it's funny. A lot of people worry about paychecks, but when you go and ask them about a DVIR, about a maintenance report, about stuff like that, they just, they just get frozen, because they throw the wear and tear of the equipment at you, but when you come at them with the actual things that they have to do, they don't know how to understand. They don't know how to answer that sometimes. So pick yourself a good driver that doesn't have a horrible past previous employment history. It doesn't have 10,000 jobs in the last year. That's very important. You need flexibility. You need stability and in a truck driver. And if a truck driver is hopping around from job to job in a year, 2 years, that driver is not stable, and he's not gonna do it either at your location. And yes, there's drivers that are good with other dispatchers. Some drivers might not get along with me. They might get along with somebody else in the office, so the other person could dispatch them. But in reality, There's things that fall in line, like your past employment history. That is a telltale sign of how a driver really is in reality. I have yet to be disproven on that one. Their character, very important. If they're gonna lie to you or not, if they're gonna tell you the truth or not, that's important, because you don't want to tell your customer a lie, or you don't want him to tell your customer or her to tell your customer a lie. So character in a driver is very important. Work ethic, I can't state that enough. You can make a ton of money in trucking, a ton, without an education, high school or college. And yet there's still a lot of people that have very poor work ethic in trucking. YouTube, I can tell you, YouTube alone, I see a bunch of drivers that have poor work ethic and they're giving advice out. So no. Habits, good habits, not bad habits. And you can pick them off. It might take you 30 days to pick them off, but from a driver when you hire them on, but you'll pick them off pretty quick. A person who's experienced can pick them off. So thank you guys for listening and watching. We're posting more about stuff like this, and this is our new little setup, so I appreciate it. And this is Martin, and we're here to help. I hope you enjoyed this video. Reach out to us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for more content and information on transportation and warehousing. And if there's something you're interested in learning, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll definitely touch on that subject.